Hi everyone, welcome. You tuned to Good for the Game TV and our Thursday night edition of the Handicap, our flagship rugby show, rugby chat that matters. We're here to talk rugby, we're here to talk betting, of course, and a few things can keep us as occupied and as entertained as rugby betting, and I've got three panelists tonight to talk us through the weekend. Let's see if we agree. I've got a feeling we're going to agree on quite a few of the games, and looking forward to going through it with everyone. But let's start off by introducing the guests, and I'm going to start off down in Cape Town. Hendrik Swart. Hendrik, good to have you on the show. How did last week go for you?
Hi, Brent. Nice to be back. Last week I was on the box -3.5. So that late comeback, that late try didn't really help me, and that was one of the box with my best bets. In the end, I actually made a small profit for the weekend because my points placed all came through. So that was on the Ireland over 15.5 first half points, overs on the Scotland game, unders on the England game, under 15.5 on England points. So that disallowed try was big for me. So all in all, a small profit for the weekend on my best bet. The box didn't deliver.
Right on. Let's go down to George and Hein Dumont, aka Couch Critic. Couch, I must tell you, I was on under 48.5 in the England-New Zealand game. I couldn't believe the quote when I saw how heavily it was raining. And although it arrived comfortably in the end, I've got to say the standard of that game was absolutely superb given the conditions. The handling was brilliant. And what a performance by England. I mean, you'd have to say pretty stiff in the end not to win the game.
How's it, Brent? I must say that you're going to say how the weekend was. Everything went according to plan for me on the caps, except that one. I got New Zealand horribly wrong there, or I don't know, maybe I got England horribly wrong. They were really up for that one, and they gave it a good go. And I was actually at the stage thinking, geez, I just hope they take this now. I know after the previous weekend everyone was anti-England, but I was actually thinking it'd be nice if they could topple the All Blacks there. So I would have taken that and not worried about the loss. But actually my biggest one was I was pretty looking good in one of those comps there. I had the last try scorers in the France and South Africa game, and I had Bastereau, and I had Diante as my last one. So I'm really not a fan of Willie Leroux this week.
Wow. Okay. So that forward pass actually cost you. I didn't realize that. I went and had a look because that competition we ran by email on the GG Gaming Gone Match, and I went and had a look and I saw quite a few guys had Bongi and Ganambi as the last try scorer for South Africa, but I didn't actually have a look at the rest of the selections once I saw that no one had the French one with him. So you were that close to winning a big payout.
Yeah, I went from really excited that Colby somehow spilled the ball in the end there, and then I mean after the hooter getting one in the corner, I thought, geez, my luck couldn't be better. And then unfortunately it was obviously clearly forward, so that was a tad disappointing. That would have been really the cherry on the cake of quite a decent weekend.
All right. Well, before I introduce the Oracle, just a shout out to all the guys joining us on the comments there. Yaka Ocomp's there. Sean, he was on GG Gaming Gone Mad with us. He's come on and seen Bo, our weather forecaster from Port Elizabeth. But let's go down to Durban for Oracle Rugby. Oracle, I know you've been busy. I was sitting last night getting YouTube notifications. And like Hendrik, I've probably, because you got them out pretty early, I've had a chance to watch quite a few of yours. It looks like you're pretty excited about this weekend and you're not holding back much.
Yes, Brent, so I'm quite excited about this week. I haven't actually written any previews. I decided to put the videos out this week prior to doing any written previews. So after the show, I'll be writing them out. I just wanted to say, I know that, I lost last week. I know these guys won a little bit of money. I had a decent strike at New Zealand at -6.5 at halftime. I lost on that. Going back to what Couch said, I was on Diante to score last. I got to tell you, I have no idea which French oak I picked. I think I took an absolute stab with my eyes closed, the pencil on the 15 written names, so I came nowhere there. With regards to the England-New Zealand one, I picked no try for England, and I picked Bowden Barrett, so I had no chance of getting anywhere close to winning the 25 grand. But I got to tell you, out of all of the money I lost on the weekend, I'm not worried about that. What I am quite excited about, and I did forget during the game, is that I had a bet that Australia wouldn't score more than 20. So, yeah, a little bit excited. I see the smile on your face there. It's come through. So you're obviously hearing me live, which is great. Yeah, you're welcome to pick any one of the 6 games down there and try and win the money back. I can do double the quits, no problem. I just want to say I did WhatsApp. I had a couple of guys came around my place on Saturday. Unfortunately, only watched the South African game on Sunday morning. I watched the first few minutes, passed out, didn't even say goodbye to my guests. Yeah, so I heard about the France game on Sunday morning. I was bitterly disappointed when I found out that they were on the 5-meter line with 10 seconds to go, leading the game. 4 lineouts later, Bongi and Benambi scores in the corner, and I do my money. I was like, I don't know, I was horrified. Anyway.
Well, perhaps just as well you passed out for that game. I must say, personally, I won some money on the England game, but I passed out probably for different reasons. I was just jolly tired up. I sort of made the start of the Bok game, and then I fell asleep. So I didn't get too involved last weekend, but I'm certainly getting heated up for this weekend's action. And guys, let's start with the big games. And let me start straight away with Gavin, and let's talk about Scotland up against South Africa at Murrayfield. This is the big one. There's been quite a bit of money, Gavin, for the Scots. It was 5.5. I'm not sure. I know you, I think, tipped them on the board in your preview. But 5.5, that seems to have come into 3.5. I see lots of comments, people saying that Scotland have selected a very strong team. And there was a lot of sentiment for South Africa early in the week, but everything I'm hearing now is all about Scotland. Well, obviously, you're quite happy with what you're sitting on at the moment.
Yeah, Brent, look, I'm a little bit disappointed. I took 15-10 only to find out there was some 2-1 available. You know, sometimes I've got a sort of a number in my head, and yesterday it was sort of 13-14-10. I was happy with it. When I saw 15-10, I grabbed it straight away. You know, sometimes you see a price and you've got a number in your mind, and you know, you could even see something like a -8, and you think, well, that's good enough because you were thinking it would be -9 or 10. And then, 12 hours later or the following morning, you see -4 and you think, geez, I'm an idiot. I should have waited around. You know what? At 2-1, if it's still available after the show, I might take a little bit more. But for me, 15-10 was already overpriced. So, yeah, if the guy's got 2-1 or 18-10, well, good luck to them. I honestly can't see South Africa winning this game. Like I said on my preview last night, I'm statistically, I can't remember when last South Africa lost to Scotland. I know it's one of those teams that we've beaten perennially for many years, but of late, of the last few years, I don't know that we've beaten Scotland that well. And yeah, for me, I don't think Scotland will. I don't think South Africa will stay here. I think South Africa were unlucky to lose to England. England didn't play well that day. And I think they were certainly very lucky to beat the French. I did watch the highlights. Unfortunately, I haven't watched the whole 80 minutes, so I can't comment on every single play. But, for me, Scotland is definitely the value. It's definitely my biggest play this week, and I'm all over it.
Henrik, aren't you pleased that he's not going to comment on every play?
Yeah, Brent. No, I agree with Oracle this week. I like the Scots here. They have a very good record at Murrayfield the last 2 years or so. They've beaten Ireland, they've beaten England, they've smashed Australia last year. They almost won against the All Blacks. They should have won that game. I think the last 10 games at Murrayfield, they only lost the one to New Zealand. So I think there's some value on Scotland being the underdogs here, and I like them very much on the plus 5.5, and I've taken the 2-1 to win the game as well. Well, this whole week I've been very undecided on all the games, but yeah, from doing a bit of research today, the more I see the stats about Scotland and Murrayfield, the more I like them. I don't like the Bok team that much. I'm not a huge Papier fan. Tactically, he's not that good a scrummer for me. And as long as Siya Kolisi is in the team, I'll try and oppose the Boks from now on. For me, his form doesn't warrant a place in the team, and he's a poor captain. He doesn't really stand. You don't see him as a captain, so I don't rate him as a captain. Yeah, so I'm on the Scots here, and I also will be looking at Scotland on overs on Scotland points here because they're the underdog. I think we should get a lower total on them. They play exciting rugby. They score a lot of tries, so yeah, I'm all over the Scots here.
Sean Nicholas just saying that he makes a spot for golden bet, but I like his comment. He said, Boks no good on Papier. So nice comment there from Sean in the live comment section. Let's go to Hein. Hein, where are you sitting on this one? First of all, let me ask you, Gavin was mentioning about the fact that sometimes you take a price and then the next day the price is better. And that's happened to me so many times as well. And you kick yourself, but at the end of the day, you also tell yourself, if it wins, I'm quite happy with my 15-10, even if I didn't get the 2-1, because ultimately, if it wins, I'm going to collect. And if you lose, it really doesn't matter what price you got, eh?
Yes, Brent, exactly. And as Gavin said, it goes both ways. You know, other days you wait and you think it's going to get better, and it goes the other way. So, you know, eventually it's going to even out. So as long as you're happy, I know in cricket as well, sometimes I go to a price and I see something and I think, gee whiz, I'm missing something that they could have this price, and then I just go for it. And then the next day it's even bigger and you think, okay, I definitely missed something. But either way, you know, you just got to, as long as you're happy with the price, then so be it. You know, then rather take a bit more if you really feel like you could do it. But on the point of the game, I mean, I'm not really going to be rushing into 15 to 10 on the Scots. I hear everyone on this. I fancy the Scots on the plus for quite a bit of a punt, but outright, I don't know, it might be a bit of a stretch. I still think that, yes, they've pushed a lot of guys, beaten a lot of guys, but the Boks are going to be much more physical than most of the teams they've played. The Scots, I mean, I call them right. I know they're a great team. I call them against Fiji. I know they've got plenty of attacking power at the back. I said the dog, Finn Russell. I mean, I think they'll have one over us at the back, but I still think in terms of physicality up front, we can bully them a bit. You know, Pierre is decent, but he'll still not walk into the box side as a tight head. Yeah, the locks, again, Mostert and RG are better at lock time. They're going to be hopefully better at line-out time, I reckon. The captaincy part, I also take that into account. But again, I think on the field, basically, Dwayne Vermeulen is the captain. I don't think that's going to make such a big difference. And it is a bit better with Peter Steph the Toy at 7. So again, you know, for a lot of the points, I think I've got some counter arguments for the Boks. So you'll see later with my best player, I'll take like an extended one on the Scots plus, but I'm definitely in the Scots plus camp. I just won't be putting my house on them winning it outright at this stage.
Yeah, I must say, I'm very much like you there. I do like Scotland on this, so I guess all four of us pretty much in agreement on that. But I'm not going to go too aggressive on this one. I do think that the Bok pack does have perhaps the ability to make life difficult for Scotland. So I'm not going to get too aggressive. Just some weather reports coming in from Pierre on the live chat saying the weather looks good. So that looking at Hendrick's points bet on the Scots could be a good thing as well. And certainly if you are a points punter, I mean, I think what Gavin said earlier will relate as well. Many a time I've watched a game and I kept on thinking, let me just wait until the quote drops to a certain level of points, and then I'm going to go overs. And then just before it gets to that level, they score a try. And then you think to yourself, right now, you're starting again. Do I play it? And I'm sure Henrik's been through that as well. But yeah, should be a very good game, this one, and one to look at the points as well. But all four of the panel united on Scotland. Guys, before we move on to what I consider probably the biggest game of the weekend, anything else to add from either of you on the Scotland game? Gavin's raised his hand there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Henrik, sorry, you pointed out, and I probably should have said it when I was talking earlier, the last 10 games over there, I mean, there's some serious stuff. They beat Argentina. That was their first of the 10th, so the 10th last game. By 3, and I know that when Argentina plays Scotland, it's always a tight affair, and when Scotland win that game, you've got to know that it's a decent team, because that's a game that Argentina will target. Then you look at that New Zealand game. New Zealand beat them by 5, and if I remember correctly, that was a double-digit handicap. Henrik might be able to confirm. I'm not 100% sure, but I've got to believe that was like a 15, 18-point handicap. I've seen New Zealand go to Scotland and win 40-0. So when they lose by 5, you've got to say, hang on, is New Zealand this bad, or has Scotland done well? The other result that really gets my attention is they absolutely thumped Australia. Now, Australia last year weren't fantastic, but they thumped them. And, you know, I remember when they played England in the Six Nations this year, as you would probably remember, I punted Scotland to win the Six Nations. I was all over that game. That was the same day that the Bulls had played the Hurricanes. And I got a couple of reasonable doubles at 6-1 the Bulls and 4-1 Scotland. That wasn't if I remember correctly, that was probably my best weekend this year. And I tell you, I had a lot of oaks laughing at me, calling me a mug, punting Scotland against England. And yeah, this like Henrik said, this is an amazing team that's done so much. I mean, I can't remember when last we saw a home list of 10 matches like we're seeing now. This Scotland team is, you can't mess with them. I mean, this is proper form.
Yeah, Scotland certainly looked the team to be. Just welcome to Matthew Coyle on the live chat, just pointing out he seems to recall an early red card for the Aussies in that game. I don't remember the game that well. I do remember the Aussies was the end of their tour, I think, and I remember them being quite tired, and I think it was competitive at one point, and then Scotland just pulled away. But we're all united on that one, guys. But let's move on to Ireland up against New Zealand. That's taking place at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. And Hein, let's start with you on this one. 5.5 points, the handicap. I actually thought it would be probably 6 or 7, but it's been pretty firm throughout the week. But I get the sense there's been a bit more money for New Zealand. I saw on GG Gaming, for example, 8 to 10, the -5.5, even money, the +5.5 Ireland. There seems to be sentiment leaning towards New Zealand, but not enough to shift the handicap yet.
Brent, this is exactly one of those that I went for the 5.5, expecting it to come out a bit, and it hasn't. So again, I'm maybe a little bit concerned there, thinking that people are expecting more. Again, Ireland are a top team. I mean, they're right there with the type of rugby that Scotland's playing. I said it last week. I think they're a very well-balanced side, and I'm not taking away anything from those teams. I think the Northern Hemisphere teams are much more improved than the Southern Hemisphere teams. They've taken a bigger step forward than we have. So, I mean, there's no denying that. I just think that right at this moment, they're probably not at the top form, and hopefully they're going to peak for next year. And I think the New Zealanders obviously have a little bit of backlash. I know they would have been preparing for England, but hopefully they want to put in a decent performance, and hopefully it'll be dry. So if it's going to be dry, I think they'll come out and look to prove something, to say that, listen, we're not on the fade. We're still strong, and we're still the team to beat, and we're still the favourites. So I'm hoping that they razzle dazzle a bit, and I actually think I'm still going to stick to the strategy of taking them on the second half handicap. I think I lost that by a point or two last week, so it was a bit disappointing. But I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it again this week. I think at home the Irish are going to come out. They're going to be breathing fire there. Stander is going to crash ball into them for 30 minutes, and then his body is going to be tired, and hopefully the Kiwi bench is going to take it away in the second half. So I'll look for a second half cap, and especially with a handicap of 5.5. I mean, it's going to be a 3-point handicap in the second half. So I'm going to take that. That's going to be my biggest play, but I'm already on the 5.5 as well. Yeah,
I'm sure you'll have plenty of people who follow you and join you on that one. Henrik, let's go to you now. Ireland, 5.5 points. Is it enough of a start against the All Blacks?
Brent, this betting has been out for a few weeks, like you probably know, and about 2-3 weeks now, actually longer, 3-4 weeks ago, I fancied Ireland, but yeah, as things have moved along, and with Connor Murray out and Sean O'Brien out, yeah, I've shifted teams here, and I'm going for New Zealand under minus. I can confirm for Ian from the weather forecast I've checked, it should be dry. All the games this weekend actually should be dry. Last week we had a bit of rain at most of the games, but yeah, so I think that should suit New Zealand, the dry weather. And New Zealand, this is actually a bit of a clash of styles as well. New Zealand try to play the offload game. Ireland, they don't go for the 50-50. They don't really offload. They just try and build as many phases as possible and try and keep the ball as long as possible. But then also they like to kick off 9, and I think they're going to miss Connor Murray there, because he's the talisman with that perfect kicks and the wings chasing onto it. I'm not sure, but I can't remember the 9's name exactly now, the Irish 9. But I don't think his tactical kicking game is as strong as Murray's. So yeah, I'm going for the New Zealand under -5.5, and I'm also joining Couch on the second half handicap on New Zealand. And I'll also have a look at half time, but the points line is for New Zealand as well, maybe take overs, because I think New Zealand bench should be strong again.
To summarize, Henrik's going to get highly involved in this game by the time kickoff comes, I can tell you. You mentioned Connor Murray. I agree with you fully. I think he's got the best box kick in the business. He puts a ball on a ticky. So I think Ireland are really going to miss him. And Pierre just making the point on the live chat that, by contrast, New Zealand have got Crotty in the team, and he's pointing out that Crotty, they got something like a 90% win ratio with him or something, and he looks invincible. So there, from a New Zealand point of view, could be a big positive. And that'll lead us into Gavin's comment down there in Durbs. Gavin, I can't recall what you went on this one, actually. I know last week I think you were strong on New Zealand against England, but in this game I can't remember what you went for.
Yes, Brent. I've gone minus here. In fact, going back to the prices, I thought 6.5 was good enough. Yeah, if you can get 5.5, I suppose it does make a difference. Although, honestly, I think New Zealand will win this game by more than 10. I haven't gone big. I've sort of had a medium play, only because, Ireland are a very strong team, and there is that one result, the one home game where they lost by 2. If you remember correctly, they had a conversion that they had to retake, the New Zealander, and they eventually got the kick over. It was going to be a draw or New Zealand were going to win. But anyway, looking at these results here, I've got it up on my screen on the right here. The last 8 times, so we've got to go back to 1978, the last time New Zealand didn't win this game by 11 points or more, other than the game in 2013. So 1 out of 8 times this handicap would have arrived for Ireland, and that's not good enough for me. So it's either, you know, that's the only thing stopping me going massive here, is that the fact that they have kept it and they did win that. They got the bogey off their back. They won the game in Chicago. I'm a little bit concerned. New Zealand sort of looked very bad in that second half last week, almost like they thought they were going to win, but I'm going to scratch that out because of the bad weather. I mean, we all saw the rain there. Dry conditions or fair rugby conditions, I've got to say New Zealand will win this game by more than 10. You would have noticed that on that GG show. I grabbed the last go there. I went 16 or more. I thought Henrik hadn't seen his play, so I thought maybe he was going to grab the 14 because somebody had gone 15. I thought someone had gone 14, so I've grabbed anything 16 or over. Whatever that prize is, I've forgotten now. It's going to be mine. They'll win this game comfortably. Yeah, barring a miracle, I can't see Ireland staying close here.
Yeah,
I took this try 19 in the comp, Oracle, so I've got a higher one.
There you go. All right.
So you got the higher one. That's on the
I didn't see it.
GG Gaming Gone Mad show, guys. Henrik, I just want to ask you, because I'll tell you what I'm relating this game to a little bit is, you know, England against South Africa. England were pretty poor, but I wonder when I see how poor they were against South Africa, whether one eye wasn't on New Zealand. And if I look at Ireland last week against Argentina, I think Ireland were far from their best last week against Argentina. And I'm also wondering if this isn't the game that they've really been eyeing out, and we're going to see a very strong Ireland performance. I'm not necessarily looking to influence your bets here, but I think we're going to see Ireland step things up a lot compared to what we saw against Argentina last week.
Yeah, Brent, you alluded to it on last Thursday, and you said you're just a bit scared taking the Irish on the minus against Argentina because they might have an eye on this game. And I think you were right in that. But yeah, I think also New Zealand wouldn't have taken England lightly, but this would also be the game that New Zealand would be targeting. So both teams would target this one. New Zealand won't want to lose against the Irish, and they will want to make a point against the Irish ahead of the World Cup for next year, because the Irish are going to probably be their best, or their best competition at the World Cup. So I think New Zealand will also be focusing on this game.
Right, well, Ireland against New Zealand. I'm going to go against the boys here. I like the Irish on the handicap. I am a little bit worried about the absence of Conor Murray. I rate this Irish side. I think they're going to start a lot shorter than 9-2 at next year's World Cup, perhaps even closer to the 3-1 mark. I love the depth they're building in Ireland. I think they're targeting this one. And quite frankly, I haven't been that impressed with the All Blacks this year. I know they're a great side and they're capable of doing great things, but I'm going for the Irish here. I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm going for the Irish on the handicap, and I might even have a small nibble on the board as well. I'm not going to give the guys any chance to respond to that. We're going to move straight on to the next game. Italy up against Australia, and here we got a handicap of 16.5 points. Italy, of course, the underdogs. And you got Australia, who lost 9-6 to Wales in a game last week where, as Gavin said earlier, he won 500 Rand off me. And that was because Australia didn't score 20 points. I actually thought I had quite a good bet there because the line was actually 22.5 points by the time the game kicked off. But it was just a really dour and low-scoring game. And Hein, let's start with you. What can we expect in this game? Italy beat Georgia, I think, by 11, and they played against an Australian side that must be hurting after that Wales defeat.
I think the problem here, Brent, is where do you go? Do you look at how bad the Aussies are, or do you try and focus quite a bit on Italy? I watched the Georgia-Italy game, and there were some times that Italy found some groove and they actually looked decent, but then they let it go towards the end again. So I mean, I'm not really impressed by Italy. So that's the only problem is, you know, you're lining yourself up and you're saying you're going to take any comers against Australia, but now you got Italy. So I'll look for alternative play. I'll maybe have a little bit of a nibble at I think I saw some plus 17.5. But mainly I'll say I think Italy will cover the first half handicap, and then perhaps Australia will take it going away after that. You know, Italy usually get themselves up, get cheat into the game, give it a good go, and then the wheels come off later. So I'm going to go there, and I'm expecting, I don't know, for some reason I just got this feeling, you know, Italy aren't as in your face on the defense and things like that. They're going to give Australia a bit more space, and I think the likes of Palau are going to enjoy that. So I think I'm just a little bit concerned that they could cut loose later. So I'll be looking to try and back Palau for a try if he's at a decent price for any time. Otherwise, maybe first try scorer, and then, as I said, first half cap, Italy 8-ish.
Right, well, let's cross over to Durban to the chairman of the Michael Chaker fan club, and that's Oracle Rugby. Oracle, what you doing on this one? You reckon this could be the final nail in Chaker's coffin?
Is Ike still employed, Brent?
He's still, him and Mourinho are still going strong.
Yeah, I'm going to have to change this to Christmas Day or something. I can't believe they're both still employed. All right, so I've gone Italy. It's 100%. The call is, I have no idea which Italian team's shown up. I haven't even looked at where they're playing. This punt of mine is 100% anti-Australia. There's just no, I don't have much for Italy. I did watch them play Georgia. I agree with what Han said. They sort of looked okay. Then they looked like they were going to pull away. Then they held back a bit. But I like that Georgian number 9. He was, if you remember, he was the under-20 number 9 that's played for Georgia the last couple of years. A pretty good player. I was very impressed with him. And that's probably the reason why they lost by 11. Otherwise, I think that Georgian team would have lost by more than 20 if he wasn't on the field. But, look, Italy didn't shoot the lights out for me, but I'm not concerned about that. I think Australia were rubbish. Their decision-making in that Wales game was atrocious. Had a couple of times where they could have grabbed a drop goal or a penalty, and they just carried on playing. They made a lot of mistakes. Also, it wasn't great weather either, but still, Australia look like they don't know what they're doing. They don't seem to have a game plan. I'm looking at the stats here. They've played in Italy, it looks like over 10 times, 12, 13 times. They've never beaten them. They beat South Africa when they were in the dumps. And you know what? I may be interested in a bit of Italy at 9 or 10 to 1. I haven't found it yet, but if I do, I may put a little bit of rand on that.
Gavin, how many points do you think? What do you think the spread will be on Australian points? You know where I'm going.
Ooh. Australian points are probably going to be about, if they got a 17 handicap, they've got to assume for at least 15 for Italy. So if they beat them by that, probably 30, 31, 29, round about 30. I'm happy to take 30 Tino bet if you want. I promise you I've not seen anything. I don't know what it is.
No, the point slides wouldn't be out yet. I'm quite happy to take Australia over the 30 points, 30 Tino bet. 500. I'm winning my 500 back this week.
Done. Right. If Australia get more than 30 here, Brent, I'm happy to lose it. I promise you. I can't see them getting more than 20.
Right. Well, Henrik, that brings you in on this game because you'll, I'm sure, have a comment on the points as well. Personally, I'm expecting Australia to open up. I'm not saying they won't concede points, but I think we're going to get an open game of rugby.
Yeah, especially with it being a 3 o'clock kickoff. I think Oracle is close with his guess on the points. I think Australia points might be a bit more towards 35. But I also think there might be a few points here. Yes, this is a difficult one, Brent. I can't back Australia at the moment, really. I'm with Gavin on that. It's difficult trusting the Aussies, but they've got the quality in players that they can score individual tries, maybe. So, this is a tough handicap. I also thought of going Italy on the first half handicap, like Couch said, but I was hoping for a double-digit handicap. 8.5 is a bit low for me. So I'm going to intuitively go for Italy on the plus 8.5, just a small bet because it's not as high as I was hoping for. But I'm not going to be on the handicaps. I'm not going to be get too involved. I'll have a look at the points. Maybe go overs on Italy points. They did score a few tries against Georgia last week, and that Michel Campagnaro, that centre he looks impressive. So and also I want to tell Oracle, I read the article today that Raylene Castle, she's like the head of Australian rugby, and she said that Michael Cheika is safe until the World Cup.
There we go, Oracle.
I have to say, Henrik, if Raylene Castle is saying that, I'd like to say she's in trouble as well. She might be fired before Christmas as well.
Well, if it's anything like the English Premier League, getting the vote of confidence from the board of directors is actually the worst thing that can happen. Because normally they come out the week after that with the name of your replacement. We'll see what happens there. That game, I'm very much in Henrik's camp. I'm not confident on the handicap, but I do think we're going to get points. And I certainly do like that a little bit I've got with Gavin there, Australia over 30. That takes us on to the next game. And Henrik, I'm going to stay with you here. Wales against Tonga. I'm popping onto Sunbet quickly. I see Wales minus 19.5. Tonga plus 19.5. I haven't seen the Wales team yet, but I guess that's going to have a big bearing on this game.
Yeah, Wales have picked a second string team. Not as many changes as England, I don't think, but they've pretty much taken it. Second string team, a few guys making their debut for Wales. Tonga played against the French Barbarians last week, and they actually beat them quite well. They were up 49 something, and the French Barbarians, I think, scored the last 2 tries or something like that, and the score was, I think, 49, 28 or 24, something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure how good the French Barbarians are, but Tonga, playing against the second string Wales team, I think 19 points. I'll go on Tonga here. Not very confident, but I'll take Tonga on the plus here.
Couch, what do you think of this game?
I thought you were going to go for Oracle there first. Sorry. No, Brent, geez, I don't know Tonga from a bar of soap, so I don't get involved in this. Lots of other rugby to watch, so I think I'll stay clear of this one. I'll maybe just look for a try scorer there from the Welsh team. I'll still have to have a decent look at who's maybe Liam Williams or one of those guys to maybe anyone with a Williams surname I'll take to score a try there, I think.
Yeah, that could be a good one. Gavin, I'll come to you now. I just want to make the comment that I have watched the Wales second string team play a few times over the years, and they've generally played like a third string team. I've seen some terrible performances by Wales at home when they've been big favourites. And I certainly wouldn't be rushing into backing them on the handicap, but don't have any strong views. Oracle, can you influence me either way?
Yeah, Brent, this is a one-unit play for me. I've got nothing for Wales after last week. Honestly, I thought they'd thumped that Australian team. I thought they were quite poor. Maybe they're looking forward to playing South Africa next week. I don't know. Again, conditions. But yeah, look, these little teams, I can't pronounce any of their names. I know the capital of Tonga is Nuku'alofa or something. That's about as far as it goes for me. I know it's in the South Pacific. They play with a red jersey. In fact, my first World Cup game, I was at Loftus. I watched Scotland play Tonga in the 1995 World Cup. I was in the stands. It was 40 points to 5. They scored most of their tries right in front of me. That's all I know about Tonga. But, you know, you give me 19 points about a team that can play rugby, that want to play rugby, they're passionate about rugby. That's what I do know. And I know that when I've posted videos about Tonga, they well watched. I think the Tongans like to watch this. Anything about their team, they don't get a lot of spotlight. Yeah, if Wales want to show up with a third or fourth or fifth or second string team, whatever it is, I'm going to go for the value here. 19.5 points, but you cannot put a lot of money on a game like this unless you honestly know what's going on, and I'm not one of those people.
Right, well, I look forward to going over to Tonga one day and seeing pictures of Oracle Rugby hanging up in people's lounges and rooms there because I watch his videos so much. Just to mention, Emil Korfu won 26,500 rands worth of free bets on the GG Gaming Show last week. He reckons Liam Williams is going with you there, Couch. He reckons Liam Williams, first try scorer. I wonder if he's going to put his whole loot on that. I've no doubt just a small portion of that, though. So yeah, those are the sort of bets you can look at in these big handicap games. And talking of big handicap games, let's start with Couch Critic this time. We've got England up against Japan, 32.5 point the handicap at Sunbet. Couch.
Yeah, it's. I've heard both sides of the coin here. Of Hendrik and Sean talking earlier or being mentioned earlier is that you know, you can see Eddie Jones maybe wanting to do something there. Japan not playing at home. It's a different kettle of fish. So that way you see it. England resting a few players, and obviously they've just come off 2 big games that their focus was really on. So I mean, I don't think this game means as much as it does to Eddie. So I don't know how Eddie's going to really get them G'd up for this one. So it's a bit half a dozen, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So again, I'd rather look for some of the players. I'm really excited to actually see some of these guys that are going to get a shot for England. I think this is one time where a second string team or almost second string team might not be a bad idea, because I see they've got Jack Noel at outside centre. So I'm definitely, if the odds aren't going to be too bad, I'm going to take Jack Noel as anytime try scorer at outside centre. He's going to get quite a bit of ball. He's got a serious step, power and pace. So I enjoy his rugby, and I'm going to love seeing him at outside centre. And then forward is obviously going to look to try and impress at fly off, finally getting back into the team there. So there are quite a few hungry players. The pack isn't that different. Jamie George is getting his chance at hooker, and I mean he's the British and Irish Lions starting hooker. So it's not really that it's a weak English side. So at a push, if I could get under 30, I'll probably still be backing England at a 29 if I could get that. If it's getting towards 33, 34, then it's getting a bit higher than I would like to go.
Right, and Gavin, let's move to you now, 32.5 points.
Yeah, I was happy at 30, never mind 32. Look, again, it's just a small play for me. I'm not overly excited here. I'm looking at who they're playing next. England have got that easy game against Checkers, Oaks, if he's still employed next week. They're going to win that game easily, so they probably are resting a couple of players, looking to thump them next week. Japan are playing Russia. It's a game in England. They're playing in Gloucester. Russia last week, I don't know if you noticed the result. I watched most of it on YouTube. They played Namibia, but the Namibians had sent over like a fourth Namibian team. I don't know what it was. They were in the game for about 8 minutes and then got absolutely thumped. I didn't even wait around to see what the final score was. Yeah, at 30 points, I'm interested only because there's a 3 there. It just seems a little high. Tells me that England are going to win this game by 5 tries. Well, more than 4 tries for that matter. I've got to believe that Japan will score at least, anything between sort of 12 and 16 points, around about the 14, 15 line. I don't know if England are going to win score more than 45 points. I know the game was at home against New Zealand 3 weeks ago, where they played. New Zealand scored, won the game by 38. As you know, the biggest handicap that day was 37.5, and every plus lost. I don't know. I know this game's in England. Eddie Jones can say whatever he likes. I haven't been that impressed with England. I think they were only close in the game last week because of the weather. I think they were very lucky to beat South Africa. I don't know. They'll probably win this game by 18, 20, 22. I don't think they'll beat this handicap, but I'm not going massive.
Right, and Henrik, I know you, I think, fancy the Japanese as well, because I recorded your comments on the GG Gaming Show. Just quickly to mention that now, Matthew Coyle saying now is 6-5. That's 12-10. Anytime try scorer at his local bookmaker, so not a bad price there for Couch. But Henrik, are you strong on this one, or is it a small interest Japan?
That's a medium bet, Brent. Not small, but not big either. With England making 11 changes, I think they're worth taking on with such a big handicap. I like the way Japan play, and I like Jamie Joseph as coach. He's a very tactically good coach. I like their fast style of play, and I think with the weather being dry, it should suit the Japanese fast style. So I think there should be points in this one as well. The Japanese they scored quite a few points against New Zealand as well. So yeah, I'll be looking at overs on Japanese points. And yeah, I also read that Eddie Jones, he gave the English players 2 days off after the New Zealand game last week. So they had a short prep week, and if you've got a new team, you've got a short prep week, the guys, well, they've probably been in the squad, but starting 15, they have to learn all the stuff. And yeah, so I'm on the Japanese here for a medium bet. I've taken plus 31.5 at even money. I know there's 32.5 at 9-10, but I've taken the better price.
Right, you want the plus 31.5. That's a bit of confidence for you there from Henrik. Henrik, let's stay with you for the final game. France against Argentina, 6.5 points here. We got the French favourites. Are the French going to bounce back from that defeat to South Africa, or is this the sort of game Argentina are thinking we can win it?
I think Argentina can win, yeah. I've taken a plus 7.5 Argentina. And yeah, they can definitely win the game here. They also always lift the game when they play the French. A lot of their players used to play in France. Since Mario Ledesma has taken over the reins of the national team as well, they've been very impressive. So yeah, I like the Argentines here. Also a medium bet for me, and I'll be looking at unders on France points here. Because Glenn Jackson is the referee, and I'll always look for some sort of unders play when he refs. Yeah,
I know you're not the biggest Glenn Jackson fan with his style of reffing, Henrik.
Yeah, no, he likes his own whistle, so I don't like his style. It's normally unders games when he plays.
I suppose that's the one nice thing about punting. If you get a ref like that, then you just back unders, and all of a sudden you actually become a bit of a fan of his style, because it makes you some money, and you find yourself cheering every time he resets a scrum or blows another penalty. Let's go down to Derbzo and see what Oracle Rugby thinks of this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Henrik, I've never done any research on these referees with regards to their correlation to points. And I think you're probably onto something here. And I'd like to also say that, if you're thinking the refs and unders refs, are you expecting less points than what people have quoted? I've got to believe that the correlation there also lies with the plus team, because if bookmakers are expecting there to be sort of, I don't know, 50 points in a game, and the referee is likely to blow 40 points or 42 points or something, the plus has suddenly got a little bit of value, whatever it is, mathematically in that quote. So yeah, from a stats or maths point of view, I tend to agree. But in this particular game, I tell you, I've won an absolute packet on Argentina beating France in the past. I've certainly beat them lots of times. I remember the opening game in the Rugby World Cup 2007 at home. I think France were minus 9.5 or minus 8.5, and Argentina won the game. I got to tell you, at 2-1, I'm definitely interested in Argentina. Plus, for the conservative guys out there, take the plus. But Argentina can definitely win this game. This is a great year for them. It's a great team. I think I did very well last week, only losing by 11. So yeah, I'm all over Argentina. Well, I'm not massively over them, but I do like them. I got nothing for the French this week.
Right, Hein, you close us off on this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely the Archies. I'm with Oracle there. I've made some decent money on them. I'm not going to abandon them here. I think the French we know they're up and down, and I think they were up last week, so they could be down this week. And I mean, again, like we talked about earlier, I was actually surprised. Hendrik said that. I didn't even know there was 7.5. I got 5.5, and I was chuffed. So 7.5, I'm going to be adding some more there. I mean, it's just unless it's one game too far for Argentina and they tire out, then that's the only thing I can see stopping them staying within that. And I actually think this one has got a better chance of being the win than Scotland for me. I think it's a decent 2-1 this one for me.
Right, I don't have any firm views on this game, but I must say I quite, you know me, I've got a bit of a soft spot for the French, a bit like Gavin has for the Argentines. So I'm not writing them off. I was actually eyeing out the French, and I might just wait for a little bit more money to come from this Argentina side, and I might hop on my beloved French. Guys, let's end off, though. We've talked a lot of international rugby. Let's end off with our best bets, and we'll start down in Durban with Gavin. Gav, your best bet.
Yeah, my best bet, Scotland to win the game. And if you're a little bit more brave, and I probably will closer to the game, is take some -9s or -8s. I think I might win the game by 10 or more. I think you're probably going to get that at like 5-1. So if you've got a little bit of money and you want to have a go and proper shout, go for it. If you're really conservative, take the double, Argentina and Scotland to win. And if you can get them both at 2-1, that's 3 times 3 is 9. You'll get 8-1 the double. You know, even at 6-1, it's value. So yeah, for me, Scotland followed by Argentina.
Right, Hein? Hein, I think you're still unmuted there, buddy.
My bad. I'm going for a treble of New Zealand to win, Scotland on about 10 plus 10, and Argentina on plus 10, and that's going to give you a 2-1 there.
Right, I should never have shown Hein how to use the mute button last week when he was talking about the Currie Cup final 2 weeks after it took place. Hendrik, what's your best one?
Brent, I'm going to go the conservative route and plus 5.5 Scott. I think they can win the game, but I'm not going to go best bet the 2-1. I'm going to take the plus 5.5 Scotland at 9-10.
Right, and now I guess I better throw something in there. I'm probably not as confident as any of these lads, but I like Scotland on the plus, and I'm going to throw in the double, Ireland on the plus 5.5. Go Ireland, do good things. Guys, thanks very much for joining me on the show. Thanks to all of you who make the live comments, some great contributions there as well. Look forward to talking rugby again on next week's Handicap, and hopefully we can recap on quite a few winners. I do have a feeling that I'm a bit opposite to the lads, and that's not really such a nice feeling because I know they're all probably in a bit better form than me, but looking forward to the weekend's rugby. Remember, you can subscribe to our channel to make sure you don't miss any of our shows. If you missed GG Gaming Gone Mad earlier, have a watch of that one as well. Look forward to the games, and yeah, we'll see you next week if we don't chat to you before that on Twitter or the Good for the Game forum.